Goodness me, we're back and welcome to the Midday Show. Hello, I'm Neil Long and a very happy new year. How are you? Did you have a nice Christmas? Did you have a nice new year? Did you have a nice in-between bits? We were trying to come up with a name for the bit between Christmas and New Year. Betwixtmas is one that I nicked off someone last year. Then someone came up with the word millennium, which I thought was a bit rude and a bit funny. So that's what I'm staying with them now. But now we're in that, it's so cold. It's so cold here in the UK. It's cold and it's wet and it's that kind of really wet rain, cold, wet rain that clings. I know all water's wet, but I'm sure you know what I mean. But let's have some comments. Who have we got on? Who's on the show today? I'm going to talk about New Year's resolutions and whether you're sticking to them. I wouldn't mind talking to some of you today, actually. I might even private message you and get you on the show and have a little chat with you live, if you fancy that. Brian Kingsford, how are you? In fact, actually, Brian, we were talking about having you on the show. Brian, if you would like to be on the show today, I can get you straight on. That'd be really good. And we could talk all about Red Alert and what you do and your poetry and all those sorts of things. Very much like to have you on, Brian. If you fancy being on, just pop a yes in the chat window and I will private message you a link and we will get you straight on. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Love to talk to you today. Liz Saul's going to be joining us about 1:15. He says, we've got an okay. I will DM you. Liz is going to be joining us around 1:15. So you've got double trouble, Brian, talking to both of us. But I really want to know all about Red Alert and all of that because that is very, very good stuff. And I've already interviewed you about that already, Brian, on another platform. So really good to revisit that. So I'm just filling at the moment because I do all my own production. Can I grab a link and just send that to you, Brian, on Facebook? If you check Facebook, Instant Messenger, Brian, that is going to be in there right now. Just coming into that now. There we go. All my own production. Oh my goodness me, I can see myself in delay on Facebook. That's a little bit weird. Okay. There we go, and that is coming your way right now. Do you know I've got a hell of a week for stand-up comedy this week. I've got a gig virtually every night this week. One tonight, one tomorrow. In fact, for the next 4 nights in a row, doing stand-up. Up in London tonight at King's Cross. I saw Fools and Horses, the musical, by the way, which is really, really good. I'm not normally terribly into musicals, but I have to say this was very, very good because the songs were very sharp and very fun. And there's an awful lot of, there's not too many of them. There's an awful lot of dialogue in there as well and very sharp dialogue. The people that played Del Boy and Rodney, I don't know who they were, but absolutely fantastic. Vinnie Jones was in it. Paul Whitehouse was in it. Fantastic. Vinnie Jones basically played Vinnie Jones. He played a sort of gangster money lender and he did it very well, terrifyingly well. But very, very, very good indeed. Really recommend that. It's playing all over the country. I think we caught the last run at Hammersmith. I think it goes on. I think the run might have finished at Hammersmith now. But without any further ado, let's get Brian Kingsford from Red Alert on. I'm just going to make a banner. Do all my production. Right, there we go. Let's. Oh goodness me! It won't let me. It's got an annoying thing that it'll only let you have 50, so I have to delete one to put that one on. But now I have that. And quick as a flash, Brian Kingsford's on. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello. Yeah, not bad, Neil.
Hello. Welcome to the Midday Show. Very good to have you on. Happy New Year and all that.
Yeah, not bad.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I've got feedback here though, Neil.
Have you? That's a strange one. I wonder why. Have you got us open on more than one thing?
Let me have a look.
Have a quick look. I'll take you off for a moment and we'll try again.
I had you up on two platforms.
That will do it every time. Well, welcome to the show. I know we've spoken before, but Red Alerts. Let's start there. I just want to pop it on the banner as well, so people can access it if they want to. What's the where's the best place to find it? Is it a www address or Is it
Yeah, it'll
redalert.com?
be Red Alert on Facebook. Don't know
Is
if
it
I'll
is it
leave that link.
is it primarily on Facebook?
Yeah, it's only found on Facebook now.
All right.
Uh,
So Red Alert's got a bit of a story behind it, and what intrigued me with this, I mean, it's got a quite a sad beginning, I suppose, to how it all happened. But talk about turning a negative into a positive, and then it just grew, and it turned out that people were really, really hungry for a service like this. So tell us just a little bit about it in your own words.
well, basically, obviously, as you said, it started from a bit of a tragic situation with my son, who is a gay man. He went out 10 years ago at Halloween and got attacked by two guys that were dressed as pink fairies. I actually saw a photograph the following morning and thought, blimey, he overdone it a little bit on his makeup for Halloween. And it turned out it was
It was a makeup.
genuine. So
And it was a full on homophobic attack, was it? That
Yeah,
they attacked him because he was gay.
Yeah, we ended up on ITV News with it as well. It went national. The story went national.
Good God.
Basically, I went on. Oh, there's my doorbell. Sorry.
Is that you? Do you need to get that?
Yeah, can I just get that, Neil, and
Of
come
course.
back to you?
I'll take you off. I'll take you off for a moment, and we come back. Yeah. Often these things do have very sad beginnings, but I became aware of this. I can't remember how I became aware of Red Alert, but I did, and it just struck me as such a good idea. And you know, when the time's right for something, you know, when people are just, I think there's nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come, which is a great phrase, isn't it? And I think this really encapsulates that. So we'll get back to Brian in just a moment, see what Amazon's delivered. See if we got any more comments. I'm very happy to chat with you guys today. Asa Don Brown, good to have you back, and a very happy new year to you, sir. How's life in the good old US of A? I hope you're good. There we go. Did you get them sorted out? Did you send them packing, or was it an Amazon delivery?
Yeah, it was it wasn't for me. It was an Amazon delivery, and for somebody down the road, I believe. But
oh, right.
So they're just not my door to ask if I knew who it was.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So you were saying homophobic attack. You saw the makeup, thought, blimey, that's better to stop Halloween. It wasn't makeup, and then it went national on ITV News.
Yeah, so I went on the buy, sell and swap sites on Facebook originally and asked if anybody knew about it. And within 5 hours, I had the two people that done it, photographs of them and everything that was passed to the police. Cutting a long story short, they did end up getting arrested for it and put away.
They went to prison, didn't they?
Yeah, the following day, I sort of thought there was nothing on Facebook to actually share anything like that or for help. So I started a group called Red Alert. Within a week, we had 300 members local. My son and myself ended up on ITN News, News at 6, and it was mentioned on there. And suddenly it took off, and it went from local to national. Before we knew it, obviously we had 1,000 members, then 2, and obviously contacted yourself at Radio Jackie and came in and spoke about it.
And that's how I heard. I was trying to remember how I heard about it, but it was the Radio Jackie connection. I suppose as you were growing, you thought, you know, might be a good idea to tell us, and we had a little chat with you about it, didn't we?
Yeah. I came into the studio, obviously.
That's right. I remember.
From that, we ended up with more people helping us out and admin members, etc.
But you do it all on a skeleton staff, really, don't you? I mean, it's not like a big corporate organisation. Far from it.
Yeah, at the moment,
it's truly grassroots, isn't it?
Yeah, at the moment, it's just myself, Sally Ann Cousins, who helps manage it with me now, and 2 other volunteers. When we originally
and how many members?
We're coming up nearly 40,000 members UK wide.
So what was the growth curve over how many period of weeks or months did it grow to
Um,
that?
to begin with, for the first 6 months, it was sort of coming in at about 1,000 members a month. In the first year to 2 years, I think we ended up with about 11,000 members. And it's just grown since then, basically. People join it, people leave it as well. It obviously, like any platform, but
And you can post anything on there, can you? What are the most common things that get posted on there?
I think the most common thing that get posted on there are missing pets. To be honest, other groups use as a platform to get their word out as well, which is good because it helps grow their platforms.
Yeah.
But we do share stolen property, lost property, missing people, wanted people by the police as well. One thing we don't do, obviously, we have to stand within the standards of the law. Any children under the age of 18, we will not share their missing posts unless it's a direct post from the police.
Is that right? Is that against the law? I didn't know that.
It's a safety issue, to be honest with you, Neil.
Safeguarding issue, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there may be someone under the age of 18 whose parent may be abusive.
Yeah.
They may have gone into hiding with their mother or their father, either way.
So there could be a very good reason. Yeah.
Yeah. And somebody obviously might be searching for them. And if we were to share the information, they could be found by that information.
So, but then with the police's permission, obviously you have to go ahead to do that. And you
Yeah,
go ahead
so if it's a genuine police post for a missing person, then we'll share it. But anybody under
you get a lot of those.
Yeah, we do get a lot of local and UK-wide people trying to share missing children, and we just have to deny it, unfortunately, and go back to them and explain we can't share under 18s unless it's a genuine police request.
I mean, at Jackie, we get an awful lot of people for lost pets, and having nearly lost my girlfriend's cat a while ago, I know how an emotional wrench it is. But at Jackie, you can't, because if you do one, the floodgates would open,
Exactly.
and the whole station would be taken over with lost pets, much as we would love to. But this is a really good resource, and arguably this is a better resource than radio because you can have visuals here, can't you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's anyone can go in and look at the site as well. It's a public site, so anyone that's interested in joining it and helping other people can join and help out and share.
So how much time does it take to manage? I can imagine someone with 40,000 members is not the easiest thing to manage and run.
It is an all-day thing, to be honest with you. As the posts come up, obviously we get notifications, so we just click on it, look at it, see whether it's something we can share or not. If it's shareable, then we just accept it and share it. It's the same as members joining as well. There are 3 questions for members to join, and if they don't answer them, they don't join. It's as simple as that. And that's safeguarding the group as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people will try and infiltrate anything, won't they?
Yeah. The biggest thing about the group is about safeguarding and keeping an eye on what's going on. Obviously, some things do manage to get through on comments and that, and we rely on members to actually, if there's something that shouldn't be in comments, we rely on members to contact us so we can remove it.
Yeah.
But it is a 24/7 site that's on 365 days a year.
So if somebody posted something at 3 a.m, there'd be someone there to accept it at 3 a.m.
Somebody will probably get a notification that would wake them up. Yeah.
Wow.
I've got a couple of retired people that actually are admin, and they're up during the night as well. But for the most, if it's not seen during the night, then first thing in the morning when someone wakes up, it'll be accepted and posted.
What's your best result on there? What's your best story? You must have some really good ones.
Oh, we've actually found missing children local as well, to be honest with you. In the past, when we first started, certainly missing pets, stolen property and things like that. We've had quite a big success rate in sharing things. Not everything's going to be a success, but obviously yourself with your missing cat, we shared that as well. And,
No, we were lucky. I think that yes, you did, and that was a nightmare. That was. Yeah, that was an absolute nightmare. And there's some really horrible, just worth mentioning, there's some really horrible scams around on missing pets, because the first thing we did was look at Facebook and said, we'll find your pet. We use drone technology. And I'm pretty sharp on scammers. I have a little sideline of winding them up, actually, and then posting it online, which reminds me, I've got to edit one, actually. It was a very funny one the other day. But obviously, when you're at your most vulnerable, that's when you're easiest to catch. And they said, £50, drone technology, and we could find your cat. I thought, worth a punt. And then it's like, we found your cat. Now send another £90 and we can download the line of code. And then the warning bells went off. But the thing is, I think there's a little syndicate in on it, because there was other people posting, these people are great. I lost my cat the other day and they found them. And there's all sorts. Some start at £50 and it's like a low-level scam. Some are charging £2,000. But do you know what? I reckon they're all
see, anything like that we won't allow on Red Alert either. No advertising on Red Alert whatsoever.
No. That's not the point, because that would just take it in a direction that you didn't want it to go. What's your plans with it for the future?
Keep going. Just keep going. The more people that join, the better. It's a platform that everyone can use if they need help. So it is just literally keep going. Hopefully we'll get more admin staff in the future. Obviously, when we started, we had quite a big amount of admin staff, but life is life, and people have got their own things that they need to do.
Sure. And you're looking, so obviously you're looking for volunteers now. Should anyone be listening?
Yeah, we're always looking for volunteers to come and join in as admin and help out. But,
and it's dead easy to join. You just have to go to Facebook and in the search bar type in Red Alert, and you will find it. Simple as that.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's really easy.
And Liz Saul is on the show. Good afternoon, Liz.
Afternoon, Liz.
Well, I think she's on the show. She looks concentrating intently. She's live and doesn't know. I hope she doesn't swear. So you're also a bit of a poet as well. As one of your books has been recognised, made Amazon or something like that. Well, I saw something.
Yeah, I've actually got 7 books now published. I've just published my newest book this week, dedicated to my late departed wife.
Yeah.
And it's actually made a good read. So I've got 6 books for sale on Amazon.
So when does the muse strike? How do you write your poetry? Do you just suddenly get a download, get a hit, and think, oh, I've got to get that on paper? Or
that's a weird one, because that can happen literally in the middle of the night. You can have a thought come to your head, and
it's when you least expect it.
If you don't get up and put pen to paper, then you'll forget.
I know. It's one of those things. I don't know if you find this, anything creative. If you try and make it happen, if you try and force it, it never works.
No,
it never works. It's more being receptive.
Emotional feeling.
It's being receptive. It's allowing. It's a yieldy thing, not an efforty thing. I find. Yeah,
I mean, I find most of the poetry I write comes from life experience.
Yeah,
and it's rhyming poetry as well. I always write in rhyme.
Do you find, good afternoon, Brian, by the way, and Neil as well. Happy New Year to everybody. Do you find that writing poetry is therapeutic or cathartic? What moved you and motivated you to start in the first place?
Actually, Liz, I first started when my nan died many years ago. I just felt like writing a poem. I'm not the most intelligent of people. I left school with nothing, to be honest with you. I didn't bother. I went to work instead. I don't read a lot. I'm not somebody that's a reader. And I just sat down and I thought I'd write a poem. And I wrote this poem, and then I wrote another, and then another, and it just carried on from there. I joined the poetry site. which is no longer there, although I ended up joining another big one, which is a worldwide poetry site, All Poetry, and started posting my poems on there, doing competitions within the group. Found that I won several virtual cups, and it just built and built.
You see, I mean, don't put yourself down though. It's because it's not about poetry. It's not about academic intelligence. It's more creative. It's a creative thing, and that isn't really connected to academia. Do you know what I mean?
No, not at all. And interestingly, we were having a conversation yesterday with somebody that several very successful politicians and British prime ministers and that sort of thing, senior figures like John Major, like John Prescott, people you would have heard of, they left school with nothing. But they were determined to get on with whatever their profession, and they put themselves through night school. They got experience and all that sort of thing. So it's not necessarily about the academia that you have age 15 or 16.
I mean, Jimmy Carter was a peanut farmer, for goodness sake.
I mean, I decided that I wanted to use a computer as a platform to be able to sit and write rather than put it pen to paper all the time. I didn't know a lot about computers, so I used to be a bus driver years ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And when the bus garage closed, I decided it was time to do something new. So I actually went to Computech in Wimbledon, and I got my sitting guilds 1 and 2 in IT, which meant I learned how to use a computer, and it made the platform easier then for me to sit and write. And all I do now, I use Word and then copy and paste my poems over to the poetry group. And I self-publish my books with Amazon. I download their platform to actually write the book. And I just add them until I've got enough for a book and then publish. I've actually sold quite a few books, which is quite amazing. It's an achievement that I've managed to do in life, and it's something when I'm gone, I can leave behind. And as they say, there's no famous poet other than a dead poet. So maybe one day when I'm gone, who knows?
Yeah, we find that with a lot of things, people become famous posthumously, don't they?
Yeah.
But I mean, to be fair though, it sounds like they're selling pretty well now and doing okay. Yeah,
I mean the new book, my one's arriving today. I did order one myself, obviously. But yeah, I get the odd 1 or 2 sell now and again. I don't make a lot of money from it. I only get a few little bits of royalties because it's done for America as well. So I have to do all their taxes and everything before I get paid out anything.
Oh, speaking of America, Asa Don Brown, he's a regular listener of the show, Brian, and he's very big in the psychological community in the USA and in Canada as well. And he says this regarding Red Alert: have you connected with the national and international networks? In the USA, there's an organization called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It was founded in 1984 by John and Reve Walsh, following their son being kidnapped. I'd recommend connecting with this now international organization. Also, Asa Don Brown would love to connect with you. A lot of his work has involved human rights. Plus, he loves poetry. So good contact there for you, Brian. That's helpful.
Yeah. We have in the past had a few groups from other countries join us. But we find that some of their platforms are so much bigger than ours. Yeah, it sort of tends to push ours to the side, and then they sort of leave the group because.
Oh, I see. Plus, I imagine it could be a logistical nightmare as well.
Yeah, and because Red Alert obviously is a UK-based platform.
Yeah,
we mainly dealing with obviously Ireland, Isle of Man, Scotland, Wales, and England.
But it just amazes me that this could just start at grassroots level in southwest London and then expand to 40,000 members UK wide. It just shows there's nothing more, I suppose, powerful than an idea that's come. People were crying out for it. And it seems so obvious, because 40,000 pairs of eyes is got to be better than one. right?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, my advice to anyone: if you have an idea, go for it.
Completely.
Yeah, you got to go for it. If you sit on the fence all the time and do nothing, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, I never dreamed that a platform would take off like that in a million years, but I gave it a go, and look what's happened. It worked. So
Yeah,
you go for it. If even if it doesn't work, you try something different.
well, exactly. It is said there's no failure, just feedback, isn't it? In fact,
Yeah.
As part of the process. You can't know what works until you know what doesn't work. Ask any comedian.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, it's been lovely talking to you. I wish you all the very best for the future. And I'm not going to say publicly, but I know it's been a tough time recently. So I really wish you all the best, and we will meet up for that beer very soon. We'll have a
Certainly will. I'm feeling a little bit, but still a bit chesty, but didn't have a very good Christmas, unfortunately. It was down with the chest infection and the flu. I think many people have been, and it's been hard.
There's a lot of it about. There's an awful lot of it.
There's this horrible sinusy bug going around. I know people who've had it 2-3 times. So I stayed at work and just avoided everybody all over the festive season. So touch wood, I'm all right so far.
Well, you're all right. You don't celebrate Christmas, so it's okay.
Exactly. But Hanukkah was the same time this festive season, but I still went to work because it started in the evening. So that was fine. But Brian, have a happy new year if you can. Certainly getting shot of that chest infection. And I suppose the good thing about writing poetry is that you can do it from your bedroom. So, you know.
A little bit hard in the bedroom. It's all based out here, all my sort of work area. So,
well, may the muse continue to strike at all the right times, Brian, and keep in touch, my friend, and pop in and see us at Radio Jackie sometime, and we'll have that cheeky beer when your chest gets better.
Certainly will. Okay.
Take care, Brian.
Take care, my friend. Bye-bye. Oh,
I was going to say, Brian is also on Facebook. You can look up some of his poetry there. He publishes some of the muses that he's had. So.
Well, happy Hanukkah. So how was Hanukkah for you?
Hanukkah was good. What was interesting ended up being me, my dad, and my stepmum, because Jennifer was one of those fell victim to this sort of fluey, chesty bug that's going around. So it was a bit of a quiet one. But I was at work in the morning on Christmas Day because this time Hanukkah started on Christmas Day night. And in fact, we've almost got a blue Hanukkah because the next occasion of Hanukkah is within a calendar year because the Jewish calendar follows lunar based calendar rather than the Gregorian one that we do. So
wait a minute, Hanukkah's not at the same time every year?
No. This coming year, it's earlier in December. So it's starting 9 days earlier, technically, than we've just celebrated it.
This always confuses me. It's like saying, why is Easter different? Yeah. I've never understood that, and it has been explained to me before, but I've forgotten. There was obviously a good reason, but given what it's celebrating, I can't see how it can be at a different. It's like having Christmas at a different time every year. I don't get it.
Well, essentially, Christmas arguably could be at a different time every year because it's all lunar based and it's all based on calendars before the current modern calendar took effect, which was only about 300 years ago. So yeah. That's the short answer. Yes. But a lot of minority religions, if you like, or non-Christian denominations, they still follow the lunar calendars for their festival. So the Muslim calendar, Chinese calendars, even Greek and Russian Orthodox, Ethiopia is their New Year. Or no, I think it's their Christmas today, whereas everyone else is taking down their decorations. It's 12th night. So I spy one of your stray bits of Christmas festivities still hanging up there. So
well, I kind of like to leave them up. It doesn't have to be for Christmas, does it? I mean,
no. I think it depends how superstitious you are. One of my neighbours, they're very superstitious. They're frantically going around yesterday, trying to find odd bits of Christmas festivities to take it all down. And I said, surely you've got until tomorrow. Yeah, but we're getting ready. We're preparing. We're making sure.
So what happens if a little bit of tinsel that you don't see falls on the floor and that remains up? Would that be 7 years bad luck in these people's minds?
No. You know what that is? Tinselitis.
Anyway, that was Liz Saul. She won't be coming back to this show anytime soon. That's a terrible joke. Where did you get that from?
I didn't say it was any good. You just kind of led me into it with your tinsel business, honestly.
I might leave the tree up and do an Easter tree. I might do. I'll think about it.
Okay, actually, you can do that. I think one of our esteemed colleagues, Nikki Patrick, I feel fairly certain she did an Easter tree one year and replaced all the Christmas decorations with things like
she did,
Easter
but she did
eggs
it for the right reasons. For me, it's just pure laziness because I can't be bothered to take them down.
Well, yeah. I feel sorry for your cleaner who was still one year cleaning up needles in August.
Yeah, that's pine needles, by the way, just before any rumors get around. Graham Pack, I wonder when his case would get rattled. Here's his first jibe of the year, and may there be many more. For Christmas, I gave my wife a year's worth of Ozempic injections and signed her up for a cookery course. I don't know why she wasn't grateful. I saw another meme, Graham, and it said
probably Graham, because she thought you'd bought them for yourself.
Ooh. There was also a meme going around. It was my wife asked me to run her some bubbles for when I got home, and it's a picture of the kitchen sink filled up, ready to do the washing up, which is which is pretty sexist, but but again at the expense of the man because he got a clout for it probably from the wife. So you want to talk about the Golden Globes, I believe, today?
Yes, I thought that was one of the things we could talk about. There's some other things across my radar this morning in amongst all the rather more serious news items going on around the world and indeed in the UK. So the Golden Globes overnight, they obviously take place. The first major awards of the season in LA, in America, in Hollywood. Overnight, California, they're 8 hours behind, so that's why it was sort of about 3-4 in the morning by the time we got results and things. And it's always interesting to see who wins, because it sort of gives a nod to what might win at the Oscars. And basically one of the things that did quite well was, I'm trying desperately to remember the names of everything, so you might want to get up a list yourself, because I'm somewhat limited on my phone with this. But basically there were two big winners, two big films that won. One was called Emilio Perez, and that was to do with the transgender Mexican drug lord, and that won in the category for best musical or comedy, which is quite interesting. There was one, the name of it escapes me at the moment. It was quite it might have been called The Brutalist, actually, but I was saying it was quite a brutal film, 3.5 hours long, but it was about a Hungarian who escaped the Holocaust and made a new life in America. That also won 3 awards. And Demi Moore, which is the most interesting, Demi Moore won, and now I know that we've all had discussions about the substance of this film. There's a very odd film, which even Demi Moore, who starred in it, said it was quite an odd film. It was off the wall. She said things like that in her acceptance speech, but she won for Best Supporting Actress. She was over the moon because she said she's 62. She's looking pretty good for 62. And she said in her 45 years as an actor, it's the first time she's won a major award. So good for her.
Did she not win anything for Ghost?
No, which I was surprised at as well. We all had to look it up. I was like, oh, because we had that discussion on our breakfast show this morning, and it was like, oh, Demi Moore, oh, she's a brilliant actress. What's your favourite Demi Moore film? And we said, oh, I like Ghost. I said I liked Indecent Proposal with Robert Redford. That's a brilliant film as well. She was in G.I. Jane. Somebody else mentioned that as well. All various films that she's been in loads of things, but no, until today, until last night, she had not won a major award. She was absolutely over the moon. So good for her. Baby Reindeer, Nigel David mentioned. Yes, it did win 1 award, and I can't remember what it won 1 award for, but I know that I mentioned it.
Best Supporting Actress.
What, Baby Reindeer?
Yeah.
No, Demi Moore won Best Supporting Actress. Oh, it could have been in TV, actually, because Baby Reindeer was a TV as opposed to a film.
Jessica Gunning, isn't it?
Yes, but yes, Baby Reindeer did win some awards in the television categories. It won 2 awards in the television categories, actually. And the other thing that won an award was not Barbie, Wicked. That won the box office award.
Oh, yeah. So I hope that
very good, Graham.
I hope that answers your question, Nigel, from Central Hits Radio. Nigel's just got himself a new radio gig, so congratulations.
Oh, congratulations, Nigel. Well done.
She hasn't won a major award, but often won a Demi. Yeah. Yeah, you dream of having a Demi, Graham, but we gloss over that.
Yes. Speaking of bad jokes.
No, the substance, I won't spoil it too much, but basically the story is, I mean, I wouldn't call it's 18 rated, and I went to see it because I don't see not many films at 18 rated. 15s can be pretty juicy now. So generally it takes something pretty strong to be an 18. And I was curious, so I went along the story. I wouldn't call it frightening. It's gross. It's just gross. It's horribly gross. She is a fitness instructor in LA, and obviously everyone has a shelf life in LA, probably a lot younger. So in the film, she's turning 50, and the guy who hires her, played by Dennis Quaid, wants to replace her with someone, frankly, more attractive and younger, which is weird because I think Demi Moore is incredibly attractive. However, that's the storyline, and Liz has disappeared, so we get her back in a minute. And she finds this substance advertised somewhere. And if you take the substance, you can be an alter ego for 2 weeks, but you have to keep injecting to swap back to the old self every 2 weeks. So it's 2 weeks as she is now, and then 2 weeks as this fresh, nubile, young, gorgeous thing played by Margaret Qualley. Okay. For me, I think they're both gorgeous, but that's just me. But if you overdo it, and so let's say so she injects herself and she becomes the young one, and then applies for the job that she was going to lose and gets it, but she has to strike a deal with the production company that she can only do it two weeks per month, and she has to keep swapping back to keep the substance in balance. But then she goes one day over and stays young for 1 day. So when she goes back to the older one, part of her body is rotted. So let's just say one finger has got gammy, but then it goes further and further and further than that, and then to this kind of crescendo, which is just absolutely, it's gross. It's absolutely gross. I won't call it frightening. It's just
quite a cautionary tale, though.
Yeah. Careful what you buy online.
And careful what you wish for, I think, as well. Actually, what's interesting is that you say about that, I think people have to be so careful because there's a lot of unregulated markets in terms of these kind of, we talk about this is a movie, The Substance, where it's all, it's all fiction, but these things are out there. Even something as simple as if you have Botox, you overdo that, you look like a fish that's had too much food, Yeah,
it was a cheeky wink. I can't.
No.
Hello, Alexis Parr. Shout out to you. Good to have you in the room. And all the weight loss stuff as well. The genuine article, as far as I know, and I know people that have done it and have had and are having success with it. As far as I know, don't take this as gospel, is fine. But obviously, there's going to be an underground market for it where they could sell you any old crap. So do be careful what you buy. Do be careful what you buy.
Well, also, Graham, he said it in jest, but he mentioned Ozempic, but there's also margarine and things as well. These are things that can be prescribed in certainly in England on the NHS. But even then, you have to regulate it because I know of somebody who has been taking, I think it was Ozempic, but they were also diabetic. So actually, doctor or their GP had suggested that this was a good thing to do to help regulate the blood sugar levels. But then they had, there were various series of events that the blood sugar level went too low. And that again can cause problems, even as a diabetic. You don't want your blood sugar level to be too high, but also too low is not good either. I had a situation myself, something as innocent as about 3 months ago, somebody said to me, or it was my doctor said to me, your vitamin D is a bit low. Why don't you have a very high dose of vitamin D? And you think, well, it's my doctor. Surely they know what they're talking about. But I did question it because I thought, well, I don't know why my vitamin D might low. Somebody else might be low because I eat all the foods that you're supposed to eat to help your vitamin D. So I thought, well, I'll take one dose. I was so ill. I nearly called an ambulance. So yeah, careful. Back to careful what you wish for. And I said, do you mind if I don't take any vitamin D supplements? I don't think I need them really. I'll take my chances with the fact that it's now the middle of winter and most people probably have low vitamin D because there's hardly any sunshine.
The thing is, we need the genuine info. Obviously, yeah. I mean, I won't win any awards for originality by saying that, but we need the genuine information because
yes,
it can breed a skepticism. Like Alexis is quite rightly saying, it'll all come out in the wash. Then TV ads for ambulance chasers, reclass that compensation in a few years' time, and also not against you, Alexis, but also on a yada 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 to that because we're so used to it. But the problem is, it's made us so cynical of everything. That then when there is a gem that comes along, for example, AI. Now, I don't want to put any actors out of work, far from it. Yes, it could be used for that. I hope it's not. But the things that can be done with that, the things that are being done with that are absolutely leading edge paradigm and are incredible. Things that we could never dream of, a few years ago happening with AI. So it's really how it's used, I suppose.
Yes.
Into.
And I just want to quickly go back to Graham's message, which I saw that you'd flashed up. You're right to say that you have to have pretty high BMI. It's not over 30. It's actually much higher than that because an ideal, but only because for personal reasons, I know that an ideal BMI for various treatments is 35 and lower. So I suspect if you were to be prescribed for weight loss, your BMI would need to be at least 35 because that's the magic number, if you like. I know of people who their BMI is over 50 and they were sort of borderline. So I do know that it's not as low as 30. If you have a BMI of 30, that's only overweight as opposed to obese and very obese. Obviously, it depends on other factors like how tall you are and things like this. But the general number is if your BMI is under 35, you can qualify for certain treatments, which would suggest to me that if it's over 35, you'd have to have other treatments instead. Does that make sense?
And Graham says this is the Yorkshire version of AI help.
Dear.
That's very good. I suppose you heard about them taking illicit drugs in Yorkshire as well by rubbing it like that. And that was by gum. Thanks.
That's an old one as well.
Good time to talk about this book as well, because I'm working for this at the moment. Because I'm going to talk a bit about New Year's resolutions in a minute. But this goes into much more detail. Now, this is written by a lady called Pippa Hill, and I personally know people that have followed her plan. And it really, really works. I think she's voted the third best weight loss. I don't know if she thanked me for using the word guru. I'm not too keen on that word, but the best weight loss person, shall we say, third best in the UK. She's good. She's damn good. But there's lots more factors, and you can get these, and I've got one, smart scales, and they work by what's called bioimpedance. Okay, in other words, it sends a shockwave, not shockwave.
Yes.
Shockwave sends a wave through your body, and it scares all the excess weight off. No, it sends this wave through your body, and it measures everything in absolute intricate detail, and gives you a readout. I wonder
why you were screaming the other day.
And gives you a readout, but there's more to it. So just out of interest, the scales are called Renpho, RENPHO, Renpho scales. That they're worth going, and
does it doesn't speak to you, does it?
No,
because you can get scales that do, and the only reason I'm asking is because some of my cousins they live in Israel, and I remember a very funny occasion where they said that, and this is actually going back a few years, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if it's more widespread now, but they got this set of scales and they could attach it to their Wii Fit. And so they did so, and we were all over, and we were having great fun with it. We're going to try this out and play a game and have a competition, between various cousins and things. So my cousin got on the scales, and he's super fit. He runs marathons like 100 times a year for fun, So he got on the scales, and it sort of went, "Ooh, hello," like this. It's great, fine, whatever. Because obviously it weighs you. You put this thing on. Anyway, one of my cousins got on the scale and it went, ooh. It was a bit heavy.
You think that's bad? You think that's bad? I got on the scale. It said 1 at a time, please. So there's that's old. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Alexis, what are you talking about? Alexis, what are you talking about? Are you talking about the weight loss injections? Is that what you're talking about?
I think she means the weight loss drugs. Yes.
The weight loss drug.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's confirm that, Alexis, if you will. So anyway, Pippa says in this book, and it's really worth reading, so it's the Renfo scales. No, they don't speak. Yes, thank you, Alexis. Yeah, apparently it's very good stuff and it does work. But there's also the book, which you can get with it, which is called Reclaim Your Life. So, but these are all the factors. Weight is the least accurate of them all. That's just how much you weigh. You know, a fully grown human's going to weigh more than a baby. That's just weight. It's
well, also, as I was saying a minute ago, there's loads of other things. It's like you will have a certain weight range because of your height, because of your family history, because of your bone density, because of your, blood pressure, because of your various other things. So there's lots of factors. Weight, as you say, is just one of them.
Yeah, I'll go through them. BMI, again, that was seen as the gold standard. But again, BMI is only a small part of it, body mass index. But a healthy BMI is for 18.9 to 24.9. 25 to 25.9 is overweight, 30 or over is obese. Body fat, this is what percentage of your body is made up of fat. Fat-free body weight, which is all the bits that aren't fat. Then there's subcutaneous fat, which is the fat under the skin. This is the fat you can see in your tummy, hips, arms, and thighs. That's the kind of fat we want to lose to avoid back or hip issues to fit into that special outfit. Interestingly, subcutaneous fat is a sign of eating late in the evening, overeating sugar or processed foods, and drinking too much alcohol. There's visceral fat. Now, this depends on how much you exercise before breakfast or break a fast. No, seriously, I'm not being funny. The minute you have anything to eat, you break your fast. That's where the word breakfast comes from. You break your fast. And then you will burn sugar rather than fat, and it's fat that you want to be burning. But if you do some exercise before you eat breakfast, you will burn visceral fat, which is the fat wrapped around the organs.
And actually, it's before any meal. Yes, breakfast, because you have had a longer gap between eating, but they always say to do exercise before you eat, not just because of how the fat burns as opposed to the sugar, but also if you eat a meal and then you try and go swimming or do some exercise, you'll be rather sick as well, and it causes indigestion.
Yeah, visceral fat is significantly reduced, by the way, folks, through movement and standing. You can burn a lot of calories by standing. Body water percentage, skeletal muscle as well. The more you do exercises for that, the more fat you will burn, and then you'll be able to eat more because you'll have more muscle burning it. Muscle mass. See, there's a lot of factors here: bone mass, protein, BMR, basal metabolic rate. It's really worth a metabolic age as well, which I intend to get mine down because my metabolic age is actually older than me, which is not good. But that's the book, The Hill, Reclaim Your Life.
And have you spoken? Am I right in thinking you've spoken to her on this program a year or so ago? Maybe. I'm sure she's been on before.
I'm sure she has. Yeah, I'm sure she has. Yeah. So yeah, interesting stuff, and I definitely recommend her.
You mentioned about special outfits. I'm actually an outfit that I had for, among other things, actually, your daughter's wedding is now too big for me because I've lost quite a bit of weight. There's a blue sparkly dress. There's a blue sparkly dress that I got for myself as well. Wore it to a Christmas party. Wore it again the other night, actually, on New Year's Eve. And I discovered it was so big that I was unintentionally falling out of it, not in a good way. So I need to find a way of making those smaller because I've only worn them a couple of times each and they're great.
I recommend that, Brian, if that's the problem, and I would wager that's subcutaneous fat, which is because what Pippa says in this book, and I think she's right, is this whole idea of having an evening meal is relatively new and is not basically how human beings either were designed to function or have functioned for the last goodness knows how many years. Take us back before this, modern life. And we were out gathering food, using up energy, in other words, during the day. And then by 5 o'clock, there's no internet, there's no Netflix. People would just sit round in caves telling stories,
Oh, yes.
Looking after the tribe and all that sort of stuff. So you don't need energy for that. So the modern day equivalent is out all day busy, come home, eat at 8 o'clock, slob in front of the telly. It takes 4 hours for food to get from your mouth to your belly, and you end up basically laying on that all night, and it's not being digested, it's not being processed, so it stores as fat. But if you exercise number one before you break your fast. You'll burn fat, and that'll set you up in fat burning for the rest of the day. Have a big breakfast, a massive lunch with certain healthy foods, but then a much smaller dinner, because you won't be burning it off if you're sitting in front of the telly. And if you think about that,
And
that is
also,
actually much
don't
more
go
in
to
harmony
bed
with-
right away. So have a smaller dinner, but then don't go to bed immediately after you've had it. You know, don't get up immediately either, because you don't want to get indigestion. But, you know, stay up for at least a couple of hours. You might go out, you might move, even if you just move from the table to the sofa and have a glass of water.
No, that's my idea of exercise. Oh yeah, and water as well. We should be drinking 3 litres of water a day. How many people do that, honestly? Honest? I'll wait.
Oh, I do. But I think the reason I do, I would say I have 3 litres of liquid, 2 litres of which are water. I have quite a lot of tea as well. But the reason I do that, and probably this is similar to why you drink quite a lot, Neil, is that because I talk for a living. Here we are chatting. And so you need that extra lubrication, as it were. Graham, be quiet. In order to...
I can hear those keys going now. I can hear that keyboard clicking now.
In order to keep your voice lubricated, and even, you know, in order to keep going, in order to be able to do our job. So, you know.
Yeah, quite right. Well, you see, this is what everyone says. If I drank that much a day, I'd spend 10 hours in the loo. Not necessarily.
No,
exactly. If you're hydrated, you won't need to pee it out. You only have to pee it out if there's too much. We don't have enough. That's the thing. I've
and if you're
I don't normally discuss my toilet habits, but since we're talking about this, I've drunk 1 litre of water so far today, and I've only been to the toilet once. You'd think I'd have been loads of times with a whole litre of water, but no, it's because I'm dehydrated and it's being used for the bodily functions. Therefore, it doesn't need to be excreted out the body.
The other thing I would say is that if you're an active person, so if you are running around quite a lot, not necessarily exercising, you just could be going from here to there. I've got friends who are teachers, and one of them said they measured their steps, or they have a pedometer or whatever it was, but just going around the classroom, going from here to there and different places in the school, they clocked up 18,000 steps in one day. So, you know, you drink that amount of water, but if you're constantly on the move, your body is going to need more hydration. So
yeah,
if you drink 10 beers and you're just sitting, of course you're going to spend the rest of the night peeing. So
there's a whole chapter on alcohol, and this is the only. Did you know that you won't lose any weight for 2 days if you drink alcohol? Any alcohol, you can forget losing weight for the next 2 days.
Yeah,
just thought I'd share that. But I'm on dry January. God, it's dragging on. I've had dry wine, dry martini. No, sorry.
Oh dear.
No, I haven't.
Have you had any alcohol at all?
Since New Year's Eve, not a drop.
Oh well, that's good.
Not a drop. I'm going to do the month because I need to. The scales were not friendly to me the other morning, and I thought, no.
Did they groan at you?
Huh?
Did they groan at you or just walk off?
Springs flying everywhere. It was like a cartoon fight. So what else do you want to talk about? We've got 4 minutes left.
I'll tell you an interesting stat that I saw from a fellow, just to round this off what Nigel David says here. I love drinking water, but the constant peeing is annoying. Well, that's why you need to move more, David and Nigel. So that would be one way of not peeing all the time. If you keep up that exercise, you need more hydration.
Brian,
you could have alcohol free. Yeah, exactly.
I'm very happy to drink non-alcoholic beer. Yeah, absolutely.
I noticed an interesting stat from a fellow journalist, Martin Stanford, on Facebook today, which said that in all the social media platforms, and there are many around these days, ones that we will generally have heard of. We're on several streaming platforms. We're on YouTube, we are on Facebook, I believe we're on TikTok as well, and various guises, but there's also Snapchat, there's Threads, there's X, formerly Twitter. There are loads of social media platforms these days. But an interesting...
Tons you haven't even heard of.
Oh, yes, exactly. But in Martin Stanford, as I say, to quote him, he put up a post that said the biggest reach with all of these platforms for information and for and news and various things is Facebook by far. Facebook reaches more people than any of the other platforms now. And there's various sort of, I haven't been able to go into why that might be the case.
I thought it was all about TikTok nowadays.
Well, you would say that. And TikTok is a very sort of, I suppose, Gen Z place to be. Instagram as well. There's a lot of people on there. They're all very trendy and they're all very helpful in their own way. I haven't been able to go into these particular stats, but previously I've looked at algorithms, and it's something I've had discussions about with Russ before now as well. But something like X, the algorithms on X lend themselves to fast pace. So it's all quick. You know, every second, 70 new posts, another 70 posts, another 30 posts. It's all very quick. The algorithm's very quick on X, whereas Facebook, it's much more leisurely. You have time to, if you put too many posts up too quickly, the ones in the middle get lost. So with Facebook, if you wanted to put up something in order to maximize the exposure with your algorithms, you'll notice this yourself. You might go into Facebook and all of a sudden you're seeing something from 3 days ago. What's that about? It's because the Facebook algorithms are more leisurely. They want people to take time. They want people to get a good roundup. That's what the algorithm seems to be doing at the moment. Whereas Instagram seems to be quite random. TikTok, as you say, very fast paced, but repetitive. Again, you'll see something on TikTok and I'll see it keep coming up on different platforms as a cross post and things like that. So, but it always comes to Facebook. And I think because even older people in any society, in most societies that now use a lot of technology, even if you're not, say, au fait or totally expert or silver surfers, they used to be called, with modern technology, most people have got to grips with email and, say, Facebook, one social media platform. I saw another colleague who put up that very sadly his mum had passed away a day before her 84th birthday. And he said, you know, I'm putting it on here, whereas in years gone by, my parents might have put an obit such as this in the Times, for example, or in the local newspaper. But here I am telling you about my mum on here because even my mum was on Facebook. So there you go. A stat for today that Facebook reaches more places than any other social media platform. Of course, by tomorrow, that might change.
Of course, algorithms do. I heard, and this may not be the case anymore, but LinkedIn, if there's a lot of activity at a flurry, that triggers the algorithms to push it up. And you're saying Facebook's basically the opposite.
Yes, exactly. So if you put up a post on, you know, say you want to do a roundup of, say, New Year's Eve discos that you did, or you want to advertise and encourage people to come and book discos with you. I know that Mr. E, who's the tech whiz as far as as DJing goes, he's done some great videos and stuff and great technology and stuff. You put it on Facebook, you then need to leave it to breathe for a couple of days, you know, particularly as a reel or even as a story, because it just needs to, it needs to breathe. It needs to expand in its own way. Whereas if you put it on X, you'd probably want to do a lot more.
Yes, it is still a word. Yes.
Very retro, I know, but retro's coming back.
Yeah. Or discotheque, to give it its full name. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in today. Russ is officiating a funeral as his alter ego.
We're certainly planning one anyway, so yes.
Okay. So so all best to Russ. I should have probably said that at the beginning in case you're wondering why it's me, not Russ. And that is pretty much our first show of the year done and dusted. 3 sarcastic comments from Graham in a show. That was great. A great guest, Brian Kingsford from Red
It's
Alert.
like midday show bingo, really, isn't it, with Graham?
Yeah, pretty is. If you'd like to check out Red Alert, become a member if you like. Be part of one of those 40,000 members. As I say, it is UK wide now. If you're based in the UK, or maybe just want to go and have a look if you're somewhere else, at Red Alert, which is on Facebook. Just type in Red Alert into the Facebook search bar and you will find Red Alert and you'll see what we're raving about. Thank you, Brian, for being our guest today.
And Alexis, fear not, because you can, as soon as this live stream is finished, go back and watch it all over again.
You can, and Russ, Alexis, will be back on Friday. I'm sorry we didn't come up to the high standards that you're used to, but Russ, I'll be back on Wednesday if you can bear that, Alexis. But Russ and the gang, Phil, Dave, and Jonathan Baz, and Chantal Ricard, Screen Queen.
Very quick hello to Mel. Happy New Year to you both. Happy New Year to you, Mel, as well.
Happy New Year, Mel. And that's just about it. So from myself and Liz Saul, thank you very much indeed. There's one done. Only another 100 or so to go for the year. Okay.
Have a good day.
Good afternoon. Bye-bye.